you. Welcome back to your favorite comedy finance channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I have the legendary Robert Mao with us from ArcBlock. You can find his token on Coinbase and a variety of other crypto exchanges out there. How's everything going, Robert?
Hi, Ian. It's a long time we talked on the live stream. Great. It's good to talk to you again, and very nice to meet your community members. I guess it's growing much bigger, right?
Yes, season has definitely brought us. So in 2022, well, when we first launched ODAP, I think it was early 2023. It was like November. It was like November, December, going into the new year. Mm-hmm. And at the time, ODAP only had, I think, 80 members or 100 members at the time. Now we have over 1,300 members. So it's been growing, and we'll continue developing that. I even brought my dev glasses for this interview.
That's nice.
But I did want to ask you, I see that you've been traveling a lot, and I wanted to catch up on that, and catch up also on a variety of other things, like some of the integrations that you've been talking to us about. But just from the top, how are you doing, and just what have you been up to? I know we haven't talked in a while, so.
Yeah, so we haven't talked directly on the phone or on the live stream, but I just feel that social media is amazing. That I just feel I engage with you all the time, right? I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do keep up. Looks like he froze a little bit. Uh-oh. Are we having a technical difficulty here?
Yes. So it's from your side or my side? Because right now my internet is super bad.
It's going back. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, we do engage a lot on Twitter and stuff like that. We do keep up with each other. Yeah. I'm still a big holder in ArcBlock. I play with a variety of other different tokens, stuff like that, but ArcBlock is always going to be my #1 pick. So
thank you. Yeah. So I think that's amazing, right? Because during the time when you reached out to me, and we're kind of like in the valley of the whole thing. But as I said, is from my point of view, I think it's all flat, right? So we're just keep building, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of deals that we can build to make the decentralized apps and the blockchain way much better, right? So we don't live on those hypes. We don't care about them. But as long as we know that there's a lot of things we can build, and we stay confident, and we stay keep building until build it until make it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I tell people that all the time. People may think the chart has grown a lot, but it's still a small chart for how big ArcBlock is. I always viewed ArcBlock to be a multi-billion-dollar market cap in the making type of coin and type of ecosystem, just based on a lot of the different partners you guys have, and also the developments, the platform itself. So even though people look at, I don't know why they do this, but they look at like 100 million or 200 million market cap, and they think it's large, but this is still in the fetal stages of development. You have a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like this week, and this week's actually I'm pretty busy because I'm participating with Microsoft Hackathon. So this is a company-wide hackathon by Microsoft, and for this whole week. Everybody in the Microsoft, they basically can decide to pick a side project as they wish. They want to build, and they want to hacking within a week. This is the first year they open up for the alumni, right? Mm-hmm. So this year I joined as alumni and organized the team, and also I kind of joined many other teams. So the reason I joined those teams is because I want to pitch, say, hey, look. So I'm an alumni, and I build a tools that could potentially help for you guys to build a hackathon projects. And then that's a great opportunity for me to reach out a bunch of Microsoft people to show you what ArcBlock, mostly I focus on the aging, the AI no-code tools. And then also I organize a team. I have like 4 other Microsoft guys join me. and one alumni and another few full-time employees. They join me, and we try to build a hacker project this week.
That's good. You know, that you get a lot more networking done, and then also maybe find a couple builders, and you know, it's always good to get more exposure to the platform. I did want to ask you, you know, how the AI agents are working out. I remember you were remember the last time I was kind of checking in that you're working with some of the AI agents that could build or code for you. You know, how is that going, and like, you know, how's the development going, or do you have a time frame when the public might be able to play with that, or maybe testnet it?
Yeah, so Aging is a no-code tool, and we have the first beta public release on May. It was delayed a few days, but eventually we released on the May the 4th, right, on the Star Wars Day. So that's
my birthday. So
yeah, oh nice. That's May the Force be with you, right? So that's why you have the Force.
that's right.
So, yeah. So so since then we keep iterating, and also the whole AI large language model and AI GC community, they are developing so fast. So I think this is a very exciting moment, because this is basically like the breakthrough for the technology of the AI. Is actually way faster than we imagined, right? So when I started to investigate on the large language model and try to build some AI application, that's basically in 2023, the January 2023, and we started building an astrology application for fun, and also for build to learn. That's basically what we do, build to learn. And then we figure out the best way to build is a AI no-code tool. That turned out to be, we released this Aging. So the idea is that Aging will enable more people become a builders, right? In the past, imagine like in the past for our blog platform, when we always talk that we're for the builders, we're the platform for the builders, not for exactly for the end users. But the builders are a group of people that is really hard to attract, right? I know you work on this space, you figure out that. So, and if we limit only for the developers, which means the people who can write code, that'll be an even small group of people. They're very, like myself, it's very hard to convince and very picky for the tools. And also because there's so many opportunities, it's basically like there are too many opportunities. You really have to be very picky, right? Yeah. So that makes it very hard to expand the community on the developer side. But if we kind of expanding the developer bigger to the builder side, that means people who are not just who can write code, but they have some idea. They can probably write some simple code. They can they can put something together. So that's kind of expanded the community way much bigger. So that's actually the focus of our blog, right? We want to make the blocklet easy to use and easy to compose. That basically means we kind of expanding the potential builder community, not just of the developer who can write code. But the AI is completely changing the game. AI basically...
Just to add on top of that, you have a very widespread for anybody that could use the application, because anybody could code in any language too. Because a lot of times different networks, they lose the potential to get certain builders because maybe the builder only likes Solidity, or maybe the builder only writes in JavaScript or Python, or what have you. So what's nice with ArcBlock is you have universal code language where anybody from any type of style could come in and start fresh and build something pretty quick. But the AI agents are definitely a game changer for a lot of people on ground level that don't know how to code at all.
Yeah. So AI. So I think in the last couple of months, I think the landscape has dramatically changed a lot. Is because basically right now the AI tools that help developers write code, or AI tools that help people who never write any code to start to write code. So that's improved a lot. So for example, right now in our blog team, 6 months ago in our blog team, I basically enabled everybody in our team to use Microsoft GitHub Copilot beta version, and we also tried all kind of different AI coding tools like Verso's V0. We even created like a Mach 0, which is based on the what we learned from V0, and also we tried the cursor. So basically, right now I just ask every Arcspere developer team is imagine forget about that you are a great developer coder, right? Just thinking what you can do with AI, what AI can make your code, how AI can make your code better, how AI can make you create something that you cannot even imagine you can do. We basically witness the strengths of how AI coding tools and how AI no-code tools developed in the last couple months. It's way beyond imagination. I remember last year, probably not in your live stream, but I talked in the other live stream. I said, I predict that maybe, the AI, the first job that the AI going to put the people, out of job, is actually developers. Is the people who develop AI, because AI, large language model, is great to writing, understanding, and writing, software, programming language, because programming language is way much easier and simpler and also kind of more predictable than a human language. So AI is supposed to, large language model is supposed to be better to learn, software, programming language better than human language. So now this looks like, so I predict that maybe in 3 or 5 years, software developers are going to out of job, right? But now I kind of predict probably no. So is way much faster. Probably, I basically ask my whole team, say, imagine, 1 year from now, most of the software developers' job, especially for the junior or middle level software developers' job, going out of a job because you no longer need them, because the AI replace you, right? So what you can do is you need to become like a senior dev, right? You become the people who have a mind on what you are going to create, not just a skill, because the skill is no longer needed, right? So this is happening way much faster than than my optimistic estimation like a couple months ago. Right?
I think it's accelerating for sure. I've always felt that like it's going to be a lot cooler, or we might see a little bit more uniqueness in the technology space when an AI machine can translate, what you're saying to it more specifically about what you wanted to get done. Because I like the terminology of code. When you say code is language, well, speech, what we say, is language too. So if you're able to describe what you want in good detail or specific detail to the AI is going to be able to create the whole software application for you without the need for 8 to 12 reps plus. Or it might not even take a year, 2 years to make the application. Maybe it'll get done. Maybe within days. Who knows? I don't know how fast these things could really write it. But just coming from a software developer standpoint myself, and I'm not a coder like you or anything, but I know how long it took me to create OddApp, and it took quite a bit of time. It took well over about a year to get it from first stage to deployment. So just the fact that it took a year of my time to get there to create the product, because you have to, as a software developer, you have to create the product, right? And then once you create the product, you have to get it listed, and then from there you have to sell why people should use the service or why people should use the software application. So it's a big hurdle in time frame to get all that stuff done. And I can imagine, let's say if I had AI or agent already, and I was able to create OddApp within a month, that's a whole year worth of revenue I probably could have earned faster, right? So I do think this is going to increase, but also make cash flow accelerate in the technology field too. Because a lot of what's happening right now is there's either a lot of friction or there's a lot of time constraints, because technology is moving so fast. A lot of developers, they have a good idea today, and then it takes them a couple years to make it, And then by the time the couple years goes by, they already see something that's even more advanced that they need to catch up to. And that's what sucks about good ideas, because the good ideas of the technology space aren't created fast enough. So I do think AI is going to like expedite that process in such a way where, yeah, it'll create more work, but it'll create a lot more users. It'll create more programs out there, a little bit more specific to help people. You know, I like the whole idea of agent. When do you think that's going to be able to like get played with? Is that available to play with now, or is it still?
It's already available to play right now. So since May the 4th, we have the public beta. It means basically anybody can play with it. Actually, you see in the in Blocklet store, there's already like tens of different blocklets that is created by agent and by the people in the community who does not know how to write code, but they are able to create an amazing blocklet. That's by agent. And yeah, we're going to have a new release in the coming weeks or months, and to make a step further to make that even better and even easier. And also, I think one thing is I mentioned in my Twitters. I think so. This train is happening way much faster and stronger. Nobody can unsee it, or nobody can pretend nothing happened. Say, oh, I just keep my original schedule. I just keep doing whatever I do, and then I pick it up. No, it's going to be. I think this time the AI, AI edit development for the software is going to be a complete game changer. It's going to it's going to put a bunch of old guys or big guys out of business. Last week, actually, I rewatched Star Wars. So I am a Star Wars fan. I rewatched Star Wars, and I realized that this kind of those clone troopers, right? those are like a fiction AI, AI armies, right? But you need to have some mastermind to control the army, to let it do things, right? Do good things or do bad things, right? So the AI is basically like that. So the AI eventually going to be, imagine, right? Dion, you have a team. You have a whole bunch of team. They are all expert software developers. They have all the skill you need. The only thing is they don't know what to build, right? You, as a mastermind, you need to tell your AI-powered development team, say, hey, I want to build this app. I want to have this feature. I want to make sure this is the user experience. And once you can describe it, once you can imagine what it looks like, they can build it, right? Yeah. So the only disadvantage for them is that they don't know what to do, right? They cannot make this kind of code for you. Right? So that's why I say so at that AI age, if you and me we want to build a software, we're going to be exactly equal, right? Today you're not. Today I way much advanced in you because you don't write code, right? You don't know how to write code. I know how to write code. I can design things better. I can move faster. I can even pick up some developer, faster or even cheaper or more efficient than you, because it's not like a fair competition because our skill set different, right? But maybe after 1 year, we're completely equal on that side, because how to write code, how to pick the software developer, that no longer matter, right? It's basically like today, right? Imagine like 50 or 100 years ago, right? So maybe that number is not correct. If you know how to drive a car, right? You need to know a lot of things. You need to know the mechanicals, right? You need to have to fix the engine. You need to have to fine tune the engine, and also gear is manual, right? So to be able to be like a best driver, you need to know a lot of knowledge, right? But today it doesn't matter. Today you just drive a car, push a button, you know how to turn the wheel. And how to determine if you are a good driver or not is basically is all about your instinction. How do you drive on the road? How do you respond to the traffic, right? It's no longer care about do I know better engineering, how to making a car? Do I know the theory how the engine works? Does that matter? No, it's no longer matters. Even though I'm a PhD in that does not make me a better driver. They are race drivers, right? So I think this is completely the AI going to turn into this. So the whole software company, the ability to write code no longer matter.
A lot of examples of this, Telegram being one of the main examples out there, or even Twitter, where they don't have that many staff members, but they're running billion-dollar companies. So, and I can only imagine that you'll have only a single employee, right? Or maybe a single person company running billion-dollar businesses in the future because of how much AI could get done. Which means there's not going to be that much of a need for that type of population in that specialty. I do want to just touch base on this real quick. I saw a comment. It said from Akish Patel, it says, any future plans on integrating with ABT with cloud services like Azure or AWS? I don't know if that was a trick question, but you already are. So, but you go ahead and answer.
So right now, so for the integration, for example, right now our blog is actually, the architect is cloud on top of cloud. The blocklet server runs on any cloud. So we were a very close partner with AWS for a very long time. And we also joined Microsoft Windows Azure's accelerator program when we get started. And just for some reason, I don't want, it's a kind of a, we did not, we can support Windows Azure, but we did not promote that much, basically because of price, because Windows Azure is more expensive and Windows Azure is better for the enterprise who already on Microsoft stack that does not really care too much about the cost, right? So we always use we have supporting AWS for a long time, but recently we have partnership with Google Cloud, and now a lot of those blocklets, especially when you use a serverless blocklet, is actually running on Google. And so our blockless platform is basically, we want to be cloud agnostic, right? You can run on any cloud. You can run on your own servers. You can even run something, on your garage, right? So your application remains the same. So that's basically another layer on top of cloud, right? You can imagine, you can consider that our blog is already working on with any cloud providers.
Yeah, I try to tell people that all the time, I do know that you're compatible and you also work with a lot of these companies, whether it be like Azure or Microsoft, or you work with AWS, or, whatever these server providers, or these cloud providers have, where you play with them. But the real goal, or like the real use case with ArcBlock is it's its own server, I like that you're kind of like, the cloud to the cloud, right? So your services are actually a lot larger, or can house smaller clouds, right? Type of, I think, am I describing that correctly?
Yeah, so there's a new concept that is coined by UC Berkeley called sky computing, because today people think that it's cloud computing is basically is a bunch of cloud on the large corporate IDCs, but the sky computing is basically building some additional layer on top of all different cloud. So the users who are using this kind of a sky computing will no longer worry about who are the vendor of those cloud. So I think our blocklet servers architect is fall into this category. We are kind of a sky computing, but we always call us cloud on top of cloud.
And keep in mind that allows you to be censorship resistant too, because a lot of times in order for applications to run on certain types of clouds, they need to abide by certain rules in general, so you guys kind of break away from that in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So remember, like is another years of election years. Remember last election, so there is somebody was get banned from this large social network, and then they moved to some kind of independent social network, and but then those independent social network get banned by some of those cloud computing companies. They just shut down their server, right? But imagine if you have this cloud on top of cloud, unless you're the terrorist, that nobody try to host you. Otherwise, if it is just a political, right? As long as like this kind of a tech providers, they are balanced, check and balanced, and then you always have some place to move around, and it could be transparent for the user. The user will not even notice that your server has been switched from one cloud provider to the other, or to some servers on others' garage. The end user will not need to know. So I think the cloud on cloud is a technology democracy, right? So that's what we want. We do not want those kind of large corporate, control our computing resources purely based on the political reason. So that's bad.
And I'm sure you'll expand that, because like right now, ArcBlock is still in its fetal stages of development. Like you have a completed product, but you're still growing that ecosystem. You're still growing, the builders and the investors. There's all sorts of things that are happening for this ecosystem. So like at this time, like, yeah, maybe you're running on these other types of servers or these different brand servers, but I can imagine once ArcBlock gets bigger, you'll be your own cloud by itself. Maybe you'll be offering services to Azure or AWS for what you guys could provide serverless. So like I do see a lot of potential there too, and I that's pretty much more of the goal. But I wanted to ask you a different question, and maybe I just kind of forgot, or maybe I just lost touch of it. Me, whenever I'm holding different tokens, like I work with so many of them that sometimes I put it away in my ledger or whatever, and I kind of like stop paying attention. But I remember hearing about Arcspere. What is Arcspere? Because I remember hearing about it, but I didn't know what it was about.
Yeah, so Arcspere, imagine Arcspere itself is it's like a super browser, or you can say it's a browser for the DApps, right? So I get this name Arcspere from our community, because at the time we're planning to have this application out, but we don't know what the best naming for this.
There's a browser inside the app.
Imagine, right, today, if your DApps either need to be a native app, like a DID wallet, right? So it is a native app. The native app, you have to imagine, for example, let's use a DID wallet as an example, right? DID wallet is available worldwide except China. Because Chinese government banned all the crypto wallet. Anything that is tied to the crypto wallet is not legal in China. So what they do is Apple and Google Play just going to pull that trigger, right? So we just going to shut down any crypto wallet, not just DID wallet, is any wallet is not available legally in China. And recently, and we get a notice from Google, say the UK passed a new law, and you need to get a license if you want to build a wallet. You need to get a license. If you don't have that license, we're going to turn off from the store. It's kind of hassle for all the software developers. Imagine for software developers, you create an amazing new software, but then the government or the big company just give you a reason, say, hey, you need to get a license, or you need to kind of confront with some kind of regulation. Otherwise, they're going to shut you down. That is bad, right?
Yeah. Or they say, oh, well, you need a DUNS number, so that way you have some sort of credit score for your business account. Like, even though you're not a company that is borrowing money, they'll sit there and be like, well, you need a credit score because, we want to be able to lend you money. Even if you don't want to borrow money, we still need you to get this DUNS number, or else we're going to deactivate your app off Google. That's the threat I got recently. I got that threat 3 months ago.
Yeah, you got these kind of things all the time. The consumer does not know, right? So once you run a business, you know all those kind of government regulations coming to you, and if you dare to not respond, or it's just those letters get lost, right? Or
they'll just pull your app,
and then you get in trouble, and what happened. You don't even know what happened, right? Yeah. So the browser, internet was a very technical democrat places, right? On the browsers, anybody can run any website, right? So you are responsible for the content you provided, right? So the browser the browser just, as long as you speak this protocol, I'm going to just display for you, right? So imagine Arcspere is a native app. We want to build that as like a native app, but it's more like a browser. It's more like a browser. It's any DApps that is confronted with this standard, like a DID, like certain blockchain protocols. So the Arcspere is going to be able to run this app with an experience like a native app. And also it does not need to be censored or controlled by the other reviewers, because this is generic as a browser app. So that's what Arcspere planned for, right? So originally we planned to have a public beta last quarter, but we pushed it back. There's a lot of things that when you are trying to release an application, and for example, I'm always a person put the last trigger. Say my team say, hey, we're ready to ship this, but I do a review. I said, no, we cannot do this because A, B, C, D, E. I found this is very important because you do not want to bring up people that is half-baked or give the users something that is not good enough. You have to give something that at least it meet my bar that I think is good. So I basically say
actually deploy it and then wait for users to give you feedback and stuff. Like you want to make it like enough where it could be played with, but you also need it to deploy where the user could be like, hey, there's a bug here or a bug there. This is what's silly. Like I remember on Twitter, this happened a couple months ago. A couple months ago, people were sitting there and they were saying silly things like, oh, well, DID wallet has this bug and this is why it's not good, basically, like something like that. And I'm like, that you're missing the point of software development. The whole point of software development is literally so that way you take a look at what you build, you deploy it, right? You make it as good as you can make it, you deploy it. And then when the users are playing with it or the builders are playing with your application, they're going to report to you. They're going to say, hey, this isn't working here, or there's a bug right here. And that's the synergy between the builder and the user. And that's the responsibility for the user and also for the developer to find out, oh, what is the bugs here that I could fix, or how can I make it better for you guys? A lot of people forget that like software development or creating software is a constant build, or it's like nothing is ever fully complete. If you catch my drift, there's always something to fix, or there's always something to make it better, right? So
yeah. So I think this is it's interesting that this is always like a balance, right? So there's one type of if you are, especially for the new entrepreneurs, and you always get a kind of two different type of voice. One type of voice you need to ship fast. So one of the, say, if you are not feel embarrassed of the product you shipped, that means you shipped it too late, right? So this is one type of the trend. You need to always ship fast and get crappy stuff to the market. But there's another side of you need to ship that really, after it meets certain bars. I think they're not completely, you can do it on the both, right? From one side, from some point of view, for example, for the software's, security part, the maturity of the architect, you should not, ship fast, because if you give some software that is crappy and not even secured, and your user could lost, their data, lost their asset, or they completely lose the confidence on your product. You should never ever ship that too fast, right? You should really make that mature, and But from the other side is for example, for the user experience, for like who like the red color or blue color, or those kind of things, you need to ship fast, right? Because you want to get the real users interact.
People to do though, soon, or well, today we could use it where we have AI where we could deploy it into the code and then try to find bugs, right? But I don't think a robot could ever define how to make something better from a human standpoint, right?
Exactly. So, exactly. So actually, the Arcspere's shipping was delayed, mostly not because of architect or security or this reason. Our Arcspere was late mostly because of AI, because because when we are ready, almost ready to, when we almost internally tested, and then we almost ready to have the Arcspere's beta. At the time, we have the aging public beta out, and we begin to realize that the AI has so much potentials that we should definitely put those all together into the Arcsperes. Because I can imagine in the future, probably more than half of the blocklet is going to be created by AI, not by the code. Right? Most of the DApps on the art block going to be AI powered rather than the code powered. So this is going. So this AI trend going to completely shift how the whole DApp is going to be made. So that's why we think, okay, so Arcspere, we need to rethink about that. We need to how to adopt, how to make sure the AI powered application is going to be the native to our spheres, not make this as an add-on. But anyway, so we're getting there.
Hey, Robert, I just saw a pretty cool suggestion. I don't know if it's possible. It came from Abdullah. He said, any plans of introducing maybe an AI agent to answer questions on the ArcBlock website or the ArcBlock community page? Kind of like, those websites, sometimes they have a little AI agent to answer questions, like simple questions. Do you think you could deploy that?
Yes, so that's a very good suggestions, and we have a beta on our team side for the internal use. We have a kind of internally tried to have this kind of AI to answer all those questions for a very long time, but we haven't deployed that to the community. Is basically because I think it's not yet good enough to give a very precise questions to the users.
Well, when you're developing and you have a lot of new products that just came out, including Agent, and you're still mastering that feature, sometimes a user might ask questions that are a little bit too direct about, hey, what is planned next month, or what's the next trip that Robert's going to go on for a conference, I feel like a lot of users might ask silly questions versus like legitimate questions too. So
people are, remember that. So one thing a lot of people may remember that is Microsoft TireBot. So TireBot is actually from my old team, right? So that it's amazing forcing AI bot that is before ChatGPT was out. Of course, the technology is not that great. But it's already super innovative at the time. So my team at the time, I already left Microsoft, so don't blame on me. So my old team put that on the Twitter, and a lot of people immediately get amazed how this AI bot is so clever. But then quickly people tried to teach it to say something like a Nazi, right? The people try to train the bot and trick the bot to let it say bad things. And then eventually the bot, learned to say bad things. Okay, then this become a big problem, right? So Microsoft had to shut it down. I know a bunch of my, former colleagues get trouble for some time.
Yeah.
So this is bad, right? So right now, I think the large language model right now is still not yet smart enough to not hallucinate, not to answer tricky questions.
Exactly. Like you don't want an AI agent trying to answer questions it can't even answer yet, right? And especially if there's so much development or there's new products being launched or whatever, it's kind of hard to keep that AI agent updated too. Let me ask you this. I did want to briefly go over DID and why it's important. A lot of people, only hear DID wallet and they don't think digital identity and why it's important. So, in my previous stream, whenever I talk about ArcBlock in general, I always talk about how much plastic we're going to eliminate from the environment, from all the waste of time that we have with driver's license and registrations and debit cards. And, could you tell us about the consensus on that? And, I know this is going to take a long time to get to the consensus between what information could freely be given between the user, a government, and the companies. But what's your take on how long you think it'll be until they have a standard a consensus on that, or is that just what the DID recommendation is? Is the DID for recommendation, is this framework or is it rules?
So the DID is right now, the DID decentralized identifiers core protocol is now a W3C recommendation, which is an internet standard. So that's great, right? So that's happened 2 years ago.
And that's the framework. That's the framework on how to build it out, right?
Yeah, that's actually one of the foundation protocol of the framework.
Okay.
So right now there's still a bunch of other things surrounding this foundation of the framework that is yet to become a standard, and people are still working hard on that. So, for example, our blog is one of the member of the DIF, Decentralized Identity Foundations, and we're on the actually next month we're going to work together to do some more marketing events, try to push this DID and the DID surrounded application use cases to the general public. So DID itself, I think this is a great vision. It's a grand vision, but I think it's just because that is going to touch a lot of people's cheese, right? Imagine, for example, like Microsoft is also one of the member of the DIF, and Microsoft also have a team that push the DID quite a bit. But as a large corporate, they do not really have the motivation, because they already controlled most of those kind of user ID and business ID, so they do not have the motivation to create a new standard that is give away the power to everybody.
So right now they're basically stuck on like the permissions aspect.
I think what is stuck for the DIDs from development is basically adoption. I think the technology is there, the technology is already there, and the standard has been formed. And
but is the permission set up yet already? Like, because I know the framework is there. They know how to store things. I know the framework is there. But isn't the consensus based on like the permissions in which data is released? Because the user.
I don't think this is anything related to technology, like permission or permissionless. None of that. I think it's completely because of the business adoption. Right now, only if you look at the DIDs, community for the people who are developing DID or active promoting DID. Most of them are like our blog, right? So we are small, we're new, we're underdog in the market. We want to have new technology that is, democrat to the whole user identity, right? But if you look at those kind of people who are dominating this market, like Microsoft, like Google, even Amazon, Apple, right? So they have a lot of users' identity, enterprise identity controlled on their system. So I believe if you talk to any of those engineers in those companies, they will agree that decentralized identifiers and the protocols and the whole system around the decentralized identifier is a better solution from the engineering point of view, right? But it's a business decision for them to kind of completely adopt that.
Too, because I was wondering if it was like, is it more of a business permission, or is it a political thing? Because
I think it's a purely business. And
some countries, the government might say, well, we have the right to anything we want, and maybe another country favors privacy a little bit more than the other country, and they say, well, this much information should be available, if we need it, but this is off limits, or we need permission, so I kind of wonder if there's going to be some sort of political reasoning between the permissions in which data is released, at the whim of the company or the government, or at the whim of the user, or maybe
from that permission point of view.
Here, but
from the permission and the political point of view, I think there's no reason not to support it. Look at those data breaches, right? You constantly see data breach here and there. Even before I waiting for for you in this live stream, I just to check out the email, say that the 23andMe has a one of a huge data breach, and there is also news that the whole United States government's data of the Social Security was completely breached by some attackers, right? So those problems can be solved, or can be better with.
I feel like Equifax and all the credit things are scams. Like we never.
Everything has been breached, right? Right now, for example, by default, I never answer any phone calls.
We didn't even get a choice in that.
But this is ugly, right? Remember, for example, like the blockchain technology is way much better in a lot of scenarios for the international wiring, international money transfer, or replace the system of the Nasdaq and New York Exchange, and or solve the voter ID problem or voter verification problem.
Yeah,
this is what the technology is already there.
Yeah,
but people do not want to use it, right? Because somebody don't want you to have it.
Yeah, I think I know who doesn't want us to have voter registration this political season.
Yeah, exactly. Because for example, constantly there are people. I have a group called I have a group that is by the federal government. There's a group that their discussion. The constantly is a complete technology discussion. So from time to time, there's newcomer into this group say, "Hey, I have a great idea. Why not we use a blockchain technology, or that we use a DID for the voting for our United States voting system?" And there's always people. So, okay, newcomer, forget about it, right? This is not technology. Technology is there, many years ago, right? It's not about. It's completely not about the technology, right? You don't even need a blockchain. You don't even need a DID. You just need to use a 20 or 30 years technology. You can solve the problem way much better. Look at any European countries or any other Democrat. How do they do this? Right? It's something not about the technology.
Could I ask you a question about the token itself? Okay, so I know a lot of people get this mixed up. So a token is an ERC20, but it also has a mainnet. So it is essentially a layer 1, right? So you have a mainnet arc block, and then you have the ERC20 version. You were saying that you might be doing a base integration as well?
Yes, so actually we are actually is a Coinbase reached out to us, and they want us to have a base chain version of the ABT, and so that's why there is a pros and a cons, right? The pros is definitely better because Coinbase is based, layer 2 is one of the, I think that is the most comprehensive and better layer 2 solutions right now in the market, and also have amazing user abstractions. However, if you have of course, support ABT directly on the base chain, that would be benefit because the base chain is development so good, and the faster experience is good. It's of course it could potentially create confusions because why? Because today people are already asking why you have a ERC20 on Ethereum and why you have another same token on the Arcblocks mainnet, and now if there's a third one, so why you also have the tokens on the base chain, and people are going to have a lot of this confused. So what's the relationship between them? Are you going to kind of inflate them? All those kind of rumors or questions are going to, or there's scammers going to say airdrop. I can imagine it once you do that.
Yeah. As long as they understand that you could bridge back and forth. A lot of people are always afraid of different coins, they're making this many new coins or, whatever the case. But people forget that you have the ABT mainnet that could bridge back and forth between the ERC20. You could convert the ERC20 to Arcblock mainnet, and you could use that in order to buy NFTs that run on top of Arcblock.
So to understand that easier, for example, imagine, I think that's very easy to understand why you need different forms, right? Imagine, look at your wallet, right? You have let's say you have $100 bills, that's cash, $100 in your wallet, right? That's your $100. But there could be another form, not in your bank account. The bank account also have another $100, right? And you could have multiple different bank accounts. You have Bank of America, you have Chase. So each of those, you can imagine that's basically looks like a different. It's basically like a different network, right?
Yeah.
So your $100, if you if you give to the Bank America, turn that into $100, in your bank account, you still only have $100, right? And the form has been changed. If you move your $100 from your Bank America to the Chase, that's still your $100, and just move to another network. And but that's the reason why you want to have the cash, and sometimes why you want to have the cash, why you want to put the cash into the bank, why you want to move from one bank to another, is basically that's completely for the utility, right? So if you have the cash on your wallet, so that's the best way for you to completely control it, right? Nobody can take this away. Unless you meet some kind of a criminal who use a gun to contact you.
You guys have the option, because like, let's say when you're trying to buy server time, you sell server time by like 30 days, 60 days, 90s, and then plus or whatever. You use the mainnet Arc block to purchase that server time. You use it to buy the NFTs. Now I do know, since Arc block is a mainnet, I always wanted to ask you this, because I never really explored it. I didn't really, because I only did an NFT on Arc block. Is it possible to launch coins on top of the mainnet layer, or is that impossible?
Of course, it's possible. If you look at the Arc block's testnet, there's a lot of coins and a lot of NFTs there. Yeah, it is a blockchain, so it is anything that other blockchain can do, we can do. But I'm not a big fans to create a new coin for all the different useless scenarios. So that's probably why
they might say, well, I want to make an NFT project, but I want tokens on your layer,
because I'm still kind of like a technology purist. because I sometimes, what really buzzed me, for example, for those kind of meme coins, right? And especially for those big coins layer 2, like those BRC, they're completely honestly, from one point of view, they're completely nonsense, because it's totally bullshit from technology point of view. Yeah. But I think it has a good reason to exist.
Like
why it's there, why people are kind of buying it, because that's a reason. Which, we should not completely ignore that. But I'm constantly thinking, is there a better way? Because when people need it, people need meme coins. People want to trade those meme coin. That's a desire. That's a user requirement. But should that become this kind of ERC coins, or become those kind of BRC20 or those? I don't think so.
To me, it's like, it's so debatable now, because like, I'm a person that I used to be very like only utility, only use case, and I've always thought like that. But what bothers me, or what causes a gray area in my brain about this, is I always see like Dogcoin or Shiba, all these meme coins that we already know what they are. They're memes, but they legitimize them in such a way where it's just like, you can't even, like, how am I supposed to argue against this anymore? You know what I mean? Because even some governments recognize some of these meme coins, and it's just like, it's hard for me, or like a user from the ground level, to know like what's really what. Me personally, I think utility coins have more of a legitimacy, because you could buy products, you could buy services with those tokens. It makes sense. There's products to buy. Meme coins that don't offer anything, they're just coins to like pretty much pump and dump, or coins to buy and sell, and that's it. It is what it is. But like, there is a lot of weird legitimacy placed on some of these meme coins, like Dogcoin. Elon is constantly promoting Dogcoin. And to me, I've always thought Dogcoin was like a scam, because it's like they could mint tokens, it's highly inflationary, but everyone likes it. So what am I going to say? Popularity consensus says it's okay. So, I guess it's okay, so I always get stuck in that.
I think from one point of view, I think it's understandable why there is different type of coins, right?
Yeah.
Imagine, for example, so first of all, I think utility is perfect, is a perfect use case. Imagine, right, when we have cash, why we need to buy the air ticket, why we need to buy a ticket to a cinema, right, to see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very typical utility token, right? Because the utility, for example, imagine, for example, if you buy a airline ticket for $100, right? So this is exactly still $100 value. Why you need a ticket? Because that ticket have additional information, right? For who, when you're going to take the flight, what's your seat number, and also that potentially attach a bunch of insurance things there, right? So this is even it's just $100. This has a very different utility and meanings, compared to $100 bill, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you cannot go to airline, just give them $100 and you take a seat. But instead, you need to buy a ticket, because this is a very typical utility.
Like NFT.
Yeah, this is a typical utility case, right?
Yeah.
And so if you look at this kind of kits, right? If you look at those kits, remember that when we are in the school, when we were kids, right? Mm-hmm. So the teacher are going to give you these passes, for example, no homework pass. If you're doing good, and you're going to get 1 star, and if you get 100 stars, you can use 100 stars to get no homework pass, something like that, right? So this is also, I think this is kind of like a type of coins, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So I don't know if you know that in the Chinese culture, there's a very funny thing that in Chinese culture,
well, let me
kind of fake.
Let's say they there's people out there that maybe they don't want to launch a meme coin on top of ArcBlock. What if they want to launch a utility token on top of ArcBlock? Can they do that?
Yeah. So launch a token in ArcBlock is totally doable, and the launch so right now I think a lot of those tokens, I think when people talk to me, say I want to have a token ArcBlock mainnet, I'm just going to try to persuade them. So are you actually want to launch an NFT rather than fungible token, right? So if you're trying to do something with a non-fungible token, it's way much better. I think it's better and more valuable to create a non-fungible token rather than a fungible token. Right?
Wait, you're gonna have a hard time getting these guys to not want to do anything, because they're going to want to do everything.
Yeah, so I kind of from one point of view, I kind of look at it like Solana, right? Solana has this pump.fund.
Solana wouldn't blow up if it wasn't for that pump, what was it, pump.fund?
Yeah,
if it wasn't for having that, I don't think Solana would have blew up the way it did, because I think it took in a lot of money because of people buying Solana to launch coins on it.
Yeah, sure. But I constantly thinking that is not a good move. I don't know. Time will tell. So imagine the way that I encourage our ArcBlock community is anybody who want to do this, I try my best to discourage them from doing that, because I have this kind of concept. Remember that I always kind of mapping this tokenomic to our city, right? So I'm kind of thinking like the meme coins is basically like those kind of graffiti on the street, right? So a perfect graffiti could become art. That's a nice NFT. But most of the graffiti are complete garbage, right? Yeah. If you're charging people to graffiti on all the walls, if you just allow people to create a bunch of graffiti all over the places and you're making money from that, I think that's very short-sighted. Because
you're not really allowing for innovation. You're allowing for greed. You're not.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm thinking. So when I see pump.fund, I think, you know what? Another problem, I think the pump fund is a typical problem of the United States, like SEC's unclear regulation. Because you know what? So I asked a lawyer and talked to the lawyers. So pump.fund is more legal. Is more legal and more secure than you run a serious business with blockchain and crypto technology in the United States.
Yeah, because they're all fair launches. That's why.
Because it's all fair, because nobody controls. That's complete bullshit, right? So this is a typical like a political loopholes.
Yeah.
That it sounds to be legal, and so people doing that, but actually this is hurting the community. It's basically like imagine like you allow people to paint all the graffiti in the town squares of the city, and you're thinking you're kind of okay, I'm encouraging freedom of speech, so anybody can paint anything, but in the longer term, it's going to be bad, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Time will tell. I think that's a bad move. And
well, here's another thing to know, Robert, is if people want to build on ArcBlock, they don't need your permission, do they?
Yeah, they don't need my permission.
So, all right, I got one question, and then I'm gonna let you go. Okay.
So actually, people are going to be able to do that just because they didn't dig hard when they talk to me, and I always try to discourage them from doing that. But actually, they can do it.
Because I'm like, well, ArcBlock is permissionless. So you want to build on ArcBlock, you just go and do it. But look, I got one more question, and then we'll let you go.
Okay, cool.
You talked about a partnership in Australia. It seemed government related, so I don't know if it's NDA, but what was going on in Australia? You had some sort of partnership over there?
Yes, we have tried to start this kind of a partnership for a while, and but we haven't announced that yet. So the development is pretty well, and we have ongoing meetings and discuss for these whole years, and it's not a business deal because it's a government agency. It's more on the research and potential, the government framework related stuff. Right.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the questions I got for you today, Robert. I definitely want to have another interview with you. We're running about an hour now, so I don't want to take too much of your time. Shout out to everybody that took the time to watch us just catch up with each other. And, as always, I always, Robert, I see him as a personal friend. Whenever I talk to him, it's just like we're very natural, because most of the questions I have for you are like legitimately real questions that I want to know. Like, I'll be like, well, what's going on? How's everything going here? Or, what have you been up to? And I always like how we have a real natural flow.
Yeah, exactly. I like this kind of conversation, right? So that's pretty good, right? So I had this kind of a completely perfect marketing nonsense.
I hate that. For me, I just want to go do it. You know what I mean? Like, I was taking a look at some of the posts on YouTube, and they spend so much time on like the graphics and all these little weird effects. And I'm just like, I don't got time for that. I just want to go in there, talk about what I need to talk about, get the data out there, and just figure it out, right?
Authentic is the best.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Guys, don't forget ArcBlock ABT is available on Coinbase and a variety of other exchanges out there. We invite you to build on that platform. You could build NFTs. And although Robert doesn't want you to make any tokens, you can make tokens on that platform for utility, hopefully, is what he wants. No meme coins. But again, you don't have to ask him permission either. But, I do want to just shout out ArcBlock community. And I've been very happy as a holder. I think you've done an awesome job. And I do want to just put out there that I remember back when ArcBlock was 6 cents, 8 cents, and we had a lot of people that were like, win marketing, win this, win that. And ArcBlock kept building and developing and putting out new products. And later on, here we are. We watch it go to $5. Now we're at $2. I mean, it's still a small chart, but it just comes to show that you can't just always have this marketing nonsense because you want price go up. You should think about wanting the project and wanting the platform to grow and expand its user base, whether it be builders or investors or just interested parties in this platform. So keep Robert's dream and Robert's build in the forefront of all of your motivations, not just the price, because you have a guy here that works very hard. He travels all over the world, and he's constantly marketing ArcBlock everywhere he goes. So shout out to you guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for everybody who participated. Thanks, Tim. And I'm going to, right after this, I'm going to go back to Microsoft Hackathon and to talk to more guys, and hopefully our project is going to win, right? Because it's good. So anybody who win this Microsoft Hackathon going to present to Satya, the CEO of Microsoft. So I told my team, we want to win. Right? Who cares?
We'll be rooting for you. Yeah, we'll be rooting for you, bro.
Yeah, awesome.